All right, now I think we're live. There we go. How's everybody doing today? It is snowing like crazy here in Northeast Ohio. It's like a blizzard outside right now. If you were here for the last one, you know I mentioned I would be getting all the patron units entered in before this episode, and I have done that. I'm going to go through real quick and show you all of the units and where they are, just so if you are one of the patrons and you're wondering what division, what army your unit ended up in, I want to be able to show you that real quick. And this will all be live later on the channel, so you can go back and watch it if you miss it. Mr. Peep, how's it going? Your unit is here, among others. Christopher, how's it going? So let me show you real quick where these are. And I've gone ahead and dismissed all of the 3-month units that had already overstayed their enlistments, and I didn't want that to become an issue for morale, so I dismissed all of them instead of keeping them. But Gibbon's a decent commander. That's why I put him in command of the Army of the Potomac. Let me show you to him here. Show him to you here. He's got 4 in fame, 3 in initiative, 4 in leadership, 4 in administration, 2 in cunning. So he's a significant upgrade from Irvin McDowell. Though I am probably going to end up using McDowell somewhere else. I haven't done a whole lot with any division commanders yet. But let me show you real quick. This is the Army of the Potomac, and you can see all of these units that are not dark blue haven't arrived yet. So the only units that are actually in the Army right now are Maher's Irish Brigade, the Tennessee Volunteers here, Dan Sickles' crazy Excelsior Rifles, who went nuts in the Battle of Bull Run, 2nd Battalion 504th PIR, the 1st Cavalry, and the 13th PA Volunteer Cavalry. In addition, we'll have Lafayette's Sons. Those are our Frenchmen who will be joining the war here in a couple of weeks, 22 days. We've got the 51st Highland Brigade, so this is kind of the foreigners all in this one here. They'll be joining in 2 days. We've got the 1st U.S. Sharpshooters, which was a requested unit. Unfortunately, best I can do right now is Enfield rifle muskets, and we actually ran out of those, so some of my units are still using muskets because availability of weapons is pretty bad right now. We've got the 3rd North Carolina Mounted Infantry right here. We've got the Battalion of Engineers, and he's requested that once I get a perk that I give them the Engineer perk, so I will do that. We've got the 1st Armagh Irish here. We've got the 1st Maine Volunteer Cavalry, as well as the KRA, which is a horse artillery battalion that was requested. Nelson's, this one here is, we're calling it the Mod Division. The moderators of the Discord server, that's Mr. Beep, Nelson, and Zach Mills, as well as Custer. I haven't gotten a request for a unit from Custer yet, but Nelson's British Volunteers, Grimbaldi's Guard, that's Grumblebee's unit, actually. Eagle Brigade, we didn't add the Mills Brigade here yet, so we've got to do that. So we're going to add them as an Ohio unit. I think he likes them to be red as well. And then dark blue pants. I'll get to the chat in just a second. I'm just getting caught up on this stuff here. Hey, Phil, how's it going? Zachary, musket, some of them have muskets. Yeah, I know, and there's not a lot I can do about that, because you can see right now I've got nothing else unless I give them Sharps rifles, for example, which I could. But if I wait a few days, I should have some Enfields and some Springfield rifled muskets available. They're coming in. They're just coming in slowly, and it takes me a couple of days, I'm finding on average, to have enough to equip a brigade. So Grimbaldi's Guard, Eagle Brigade, Mills Brigade, and Nelson's British Volunteers. And then we have, these are just artillery units. They're not associated with anybody in particular. We're starting to build up Grant's Army of the Tennessee. So far, just the 1st Louisiana Loyalists, and then a random brigade there. We've got the Michigan Wolverines, as well as the 13th Tennessee Cavalry here. We've got the Copper of the Keweenaw, that's a Michigan unit, 12-pounder Napoleons, and we've got the Fighting Engineers, which is a 3-inch ordnance rifle unit. Those are all patron units as well. Eventually, this Department of Pennsylvania, we will build up into a 2nd force, but right now we have the Canadian Volunteers and the 1st Vermont there, as well as the Lincoln Loyalists, who will be arriving here in just a couple of weeks. How's the naval side of the game, Mr. Beep? It's really not fleshed out a whole lot. And if you paid attention to my Confederate campaign, you know I pretty much largely ignored the naval aspect. I think they'll be working on that some. They just haven't done it yet. Yeah, Zachary, you're absolutely right about the weapons and about how long everybody thought it would go. Department of the Ohio, we've got Doubles Buckeyes, the 87th Indiana, the Louisville Legion, and the Ruhr Valley Brigade. Those are all already in place, and they're in Cincinnati. And then we're building up the Department of the West over in St. Louis. Oregon Volunteers, Nauvoo Legion, 2nd Battalion, 137th Infantry, Fort Garry Horse, and 1st Cavalry are there. And I believe that is all in terms of the... Oh, we have the Mountain Department. So we've got Sweets, West Virginia 1st, the 1st Montero Rifles, and that's it. So that's all of the requested units that I have so far. USS Torsk, no, I don't believe they do have Marines. I know there were Marines, but they played a very small part in the Union Army. So I guess that's something we could certainly name a brigade Marines and make them as such. But I put over McDowell in command of the Mountain Department. For now, we got to wait for the Army of the Potomac to stop retreating. Right now, they've only got 19,000 men because all of those 3-month volunteers went home and were waiting for the new reinforcements to arrive. You can see right now, Confederates have 148,000 men fielded. We're at 121,000, so we're going to have to recruit some more. Nathan, how's it going? You started playing? Awesome. It's tough. It definitely takes some getting used to. They're hopefully going to start getting those tutorials that I made into the game. I know that the first one, I've uploaded them and they've approved it and everything's ready to go. I'm working on the second. They're going to be sending me information for a third. Amsterdaddy, it's perfectly fine to go into debt. Historically, the Union was almost $3 billion in debt by the end of the war. Debt is just a reality. The main thing is making sure that you're producing enough to sustain your army, supplies, weapons, that kind of thing. And keep an eye on the credit rating because that'll kind of spiral things out of control. And if the credit rating is bad, especially as the Union, your support for the war goes down, and then you've got a real problem on your hands. Let me take a look at policies for a second. It looks like I'm using all of my policies that I have available. However, I can do some things here with blockading. And those are things that don't really cost me anything. Print notes, let's do that. That'll give us some additional support financially. Sean Lang, yes, I would say that it is worth it now. It's definitely playable. It's not perfect. It's got a long way to go, but it's absolutely worth it. It is a completely different game than it was 2 months ago. Nathan, the way you create an army, first of all, you should, at the beginning, have armies that get created for you once the war starts. And so in order to get the war to start, you've got to at least, if you're the Union, go into the policies and select the 3-month Militia Act right here. Once, as Lincoln, you call for volunteers, the war will start. And that should automatically form the initial armies, the Department of Pennsylvania, the Army of Northeastern Virginia, which I've renamed the Army of the Potomac. But beyond that, you just go to the military tab here, and then you click right here where it says Recruit New Army, and you can create a new army. So I'm going to probably have to recruit some more men. Confederates are now up to 163,000 men. So we definitely need more than what we've currently got. Let me get some more going in the Mountain Department. West Virginia, let's recruit another artillery unit here. We've got 12-pounders. I want to get some... Oh, boy, let's see. Do we not have... I don't have any more 3-pound or 3-inch ordnance. I'd like to get some more 3-inch ordnance, but I don't have any right now. These 6-pounder Whitworths have crazy long range, but so do the 30-pounder Parrots. But the Whitworths can fire 5 rounds a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up one of those. Oh, well, that's why, Nathan. Nothing's going to happen before Lincoln takes office. So Lincoln takes office in March 1861, and pretty much everything's going to happen after that. Sean, I am super excited for the Ultimate General American Revolution. And like the folks over at Wargaming, the website, who were tipped to it by my video. I had no idea that it was going on. I'm thankful for one of the viewers who actually pointed me to it, or I would have had no idea. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Man, he's up to 171,000. It used to be, and this is one of the reasons why I say the game's so much better now. It used to be impossible to get the Confederates to recruit in the 1861 campaign. Not a problem anymore. They're recruiting like crazy, and I'm having a hard time keeping up with it. So Army of the Potomac's up to 45,000. I think we're going to need more than that. So let's go ahead and recruit another Pennsylvania unit. And let me check and see of my existing... Okay, these guys have Springfield muskets. Let's see if we've got new weapons yet. Oh, still nothing. So still nothing else has been imported. Plains rifle. That's a rifle. I'll take that. It gives me, at least gives me a decent range. So let's give them the Plains rifles. Wargaming Red Dragon looks very interesting. Yeah, I would definitely check that out. I've watched a few of, I think it's Stealth that plays that a lot. I've seen a few of his videos. James, how's it going? Good to see you again. And yeah, Red Dragon, it reminds me a lot of Steel Division, which I have played some of. Yeah, so Dark Prometheus, yeah, my big issue with the 1861 campaign before was I just couldn't get the Confederates to recruit troops when I was the Union, and it just seemed like it was going to be really easy to form an army and just march into the South. Not the case anymore. How big's his Army of the Potomac? Let's take a look at that. I have to zoom in because he's sitting right on the battlefield, so it keeps showing me the Battle of Manassas Junction. I can't really see what his force is like. The Army of the Shenandoah only has 3,200 men. So let's move these. I got 5,800 currently here. Although that may induce the Army of the Potomac to, his Army of the Potomac to reinforce. And I've only got 27,000 men under Gibbon at the moment. Tabletop wargaming, I have. I haven't played any on the computer. I know that you can do that way. But yeah, I've been really into tabletop wargaming over time. I've got a lot of Civil War and Alamo miniatures that I've painted myself. Kevin, glad you could make it back. Good to see you. All right, so 48,000 men in the Army of the Potomac, 182,000 now for the Confederates. So I've just got to go in and spam a bunch of new units here right now, in addition to my Patron units that I already have. And New York still got plenty of manpower left. So let's just recruit some more of them. I'm not even going to worry about the commanders right now. Let me get some more artillery in the Army of the Potomac as well. And let's see what kind of guns we can get. 12-pounder Napoleons are fine, but I would like to get some more rifles if I can. All right, let's get a 14-pounder James unit. We need... Oh, no, we've got a Cavalry Division. Do you have to put your army on certain parts of the map to have their readiness excellent or improved? What affects that, Alex? Primarily is going to be your commanders, and you want to not move. That's something we'll be addressing in the tutorials as well. But yeah, anytime they're not moving, the armies are going to be preparing and they're going to be training, and that starts with your commander and his numbers, which administration primarily, but also leadership, I believe. And that filters down. So even if you have really good division and brigade commanders when it comes to administration and leadership, if the army commander is not as good, that kind of trickles down and affects all of them. So it's good to have it good all the way up. Hey, Grand Tactician, how's it going? We're just into the middle of this one. Oh, it looks like we're about to have a fight between the Department of Pennsylvania and the Army of the Shenandoah. I'm hoping that the Confederate Army of the Potomac does not reinforce this quickly, because we could be in real trouble if that happens. So Mr. Beep, first tutorial is done. Second one's nearly done. Just to put it in perspective for you, the first tutorial, they're giving me notes to make sure I cover everything correctly, which is fantastic, and it's very helpful to give me all the details that I need to cover. The first tutorial video was like 2.5 pages of notes. The second tutorial video is like 8 pages of notes. So it's taking me some more time, not only to make it, but to get it pared down and small enough, short enough. We don't want to have, like, 45-minute tutorial videos. So trying to get it concise and make sure I cover everything. It's just taken me some time, but I'm nearly done with the second one. The first one I uploaded, they had a couple of changes they had me make to correct some things that I didn't say correctly. So they're coming along nicely, and I think they're going to be very helpful for the game. I hope they'll be very helpful for the game, because this is a very deep game, and there's a lot to cover and a lot to learn, and it's not like any war game that most folks have ever played before. So, all right, this is going to be a pretty even, small fight here. 6,000 men for me, a mixed force under the Confederates of 4,600. What I'm concerned about is whether he's going to be getting reinforcements. It does not appear that he will be, so that's good. So it's just going to be these small forces that are fighting against each other. All right, so here we go. Let's turn around this way and make the map upside down. So Patterson, let's get transformed into a single line. We can go all the way up past Winchester to the south of town here. Pretty small force. We basically just have 2 brigades. We don't even have the artillery yet. That's Kime. We don't have these guys yet. So just 2 brigades for us. Going to be a small battle. Well, Grand Tactician, I think I would echo everybody on our channel, but also that I've seen from other folks when I say thank you for this game. This will, for a long time to come, probably be my favorite video game that I've ever played. And I absolutely believe it's already shaping up to be the best Civil War game ever made. And I've said this before, guys, and I'll say it again, and I would say this if they weren't here watching me say it. These developers, they're on top of this. For a small group of guys who don't have the backing of a major studio or anything like that, man, they listen. They quickly get things turned around and updated, and boy, you can just see that by how far this game has come since early release. And actually installed an update this morning because I'm using the development build. So as they update things even before they're in official patches. Phil, Maryland and Delaware were never going to join the South because Lincoln was going to hold them in the Union by force. Kentucky and Missouri was a different story because it wasn't quite as easy to kind of take all of them and hold them by force. Andrew Shirley, honestly, there's really no comparison to Ultimate General Civil War because Ultimate General Civil War, while it's a great game and I love it, it's a linear campaign. So you're always fighting the same battles with basically the same battlefield and the same things. This is a dynamic campaign. It's whatever you make it. You recruit your units, you put them where you want them. This really, the only comparison to this would be something like Ajod's Civil War. But in Ajod's, you don't actually get to fight the battles, kind of in this 3D format like this. So honestly, there is no comparison. The battle aspect is probably most like a game like Scourge of War, where you have the delays while you send orders and things like that. Alex, appreciate that. Yeah, Mr. Laker, I absolutely agree. The rate of updates has been fantastic. And like I said, they listen. They listen to the feedback. And just that thing I just mentioned, the difference between this and when I started an 1861 campaign a month and a month and a half ago, no, excuse me, no comparison. Completely different game, and I mean that for the better. Yeah, Jez, I agree. It looks like Ultimate General is going to learn a few things from this game as far as how to do a campaign. Alexander Hamilton, love your name, by the way. Yes, it is absolutely worth the price in its current version, and it's only going to get better from here. All right. I don't have any cavalry to be scouting. So honestly, I just kind of expect that the Confederates are probably down here around Kernstown somewhere. Once we get into place, we'll go ahead and move forward. This is just such a small battle that, you know, it's really just these two units that we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and move up to Kernstown. Yeah, Jezza, I think the problem with that, and I'm sure they can address it better than you can, is the size compared to the battlefield. You could have more sprites, but it wouldn't look right as far as the battlefield. I'm perfectly fine with how it is like this. These guys aren't meant to represent one man per unit. I think it's 40 men for each sprite that you see on the battlefield. So it's getting to be evening. We may not even actually engage in any combat here. Oh, there we go. Is that Stonewall Jackson? I bet it is. Although he didn't earn the name Stonewall in this battle. All right. And interesting, speaking of fighting Stonewall at Kernstown, my great-great-great-grandmother had 4 brothers who all fought in the 1st West Virginia Infantry for the Union, Company C, 1st West Virginia Infantry. And they actually fought against the Stonewall Brigade at the Battle of Kernstown, and one of those brothers was killed there. His name was Frederick Stillwagon. He was killed at the Battle of Kernstown in March of 1862. Andrew, appreciate that. Thank you. Go out and enjoy that game. I look forward to hearing how you're doing. USS Torsk, awesome. I think you were telling me that, weren't you? Didn't you tell me they were in the, was it the 4th Virginia? Thank you, Jez. I appreciate that. Yeah, Grand Tacticians correctly pointed that out. If you go to the message boards, there's people who talk about that too. It's really easy to go in and edit the unit preferences file. If you want to make the units bigger, you can certainly do that for your own personal preference. All right, he kind of attacked and then pulled back. That was interesting. There's Jeb Stewart and Pendleton, all very familiar names there. I don't think we're going to get much more combat here on the first day. Let's see what the numbers look like. So only about, let's see, 43 casualties, 65 casualties. So pretty small casualties to start. Custom battles would be very cool to have. I like that idea. I like the Canadian volunteers looking like Mounties out there, even though they're on foot. John, Stonewall earned the nickname, which he said was really the brigade's nickname and not his own, at the First Battle of Bull Run, July 21st, 1861. It was Bernard B. who was actually killed at the Battle of Bull Run, who is said to have remarked, "Look, there's Jackson standing like a stone wall. Let us determine to die here, and we will conquer. Rally behind the Virginians." A minority of people have argued that he was actually insulting Jackson's brigade. I don't think that really carries a lot of weight. But he was killed at the battle, so we'll never know. Hey, Ewan, good to see you. I covered where all of the patron units are at the beginning of the episode, so if you didn't catch it and you don't see those units, if you are a patron, you can go back and watch at the beginning, and later on when the video goes live on the channel, and you'll be able to see where those are. All right, let's get the 1st Vermont over here on the other side if we can. We're going to run out of daylight here in a minute, and we're going to move to the next day. But it looks like we're just going to push this Rockbridge Artillery. Oh, that's an elite unit there, or eventually became one. But I think we're going to drive these guys off pretty quickly. Hey, Lucas, how's it going? Andrew, yeah, I mean, we're going to be fighting on historic battlefields in this game. Like, this is a historic battlefield. There were dozens of battles that were fought on this map that you see right here. The battles of Winchester, the battles of Kernstown. I think Opequon Creek was fought near here. Winchester was the most heavily fought over town, probably next to Richmond in the entire war. And it changed hands something like 60 or 70 times during the war. And I do spend a lot of time talking about the history, even though we're not fighting a historic campaign. Hey, Final Eclipse, good to see you. Glad you're here. Yeah, Jezza, there were, in fact, Canadians who fought. Grumblebee, hey, your unit is in the Mod Division, which is in the Army of the Potomac, which hopefully we'll get a chance to see during this during this video today. Oh, the 23rd Ohio. Well, you know who else was in the 23rd Ohio? Sean Lang was future President William McKinley. There were two presidents in that regiment. William McKinley was a commissary sergeant who eventually made his way up to, I think, brevet major during the war. Alex, thank you. Appreciate that. Don't thank me for making Civil War gaming great again. I think thank Grand Tactician for that, because this game is, I just can't say enough good things about all that this game has to offer in terms of, I just absolutely love it. I do. Hey, Zachary, what's up? So we're pushing the rebels back. I think he's probably withdrawing at this point. Yeah, you can see the routes. He's done. I think we're going to win this battle pretty easily. It was a small force anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. And we're going to go ahead and push. It's 8 p.m., so I don't think we'll make it this far. And he'll probably withdraw during the night. But we'll push all the way down the Valley Turnpike. Sean, very cool. How so you live? I've not been to the Winchester battlefield. I've been to the National Cemetery in Winchester because I wanted to pay my respects to my uncle Fred Stillwagon, even though he's in an unmarked grave there. But I haven't had a chance to visit the actual battlefield. So 43 casualties for Robert Patterson's Department of Pennsylvania. Pretty small fight, but honestly, that was the majority of the Civil War. You know, the big battles get all the press, but the majority of the Civil War was fought in places none of us have ever heard of. Dark Prometheus, this is the development build through Steam. Yeah, which you just have to change your settings and allow the betas. It's a real simple settings to do. And you can get the development builds. I installed this one this morning. Is Sickles still alive? Yeah, he's still alive in this game. He led the charge in the first big battle that we fought. Is there a way to improve the stats of officers? I don't believe so, Dan, other than their fame. But I don't know that other stats change during the battle or during the campaign. The 15th Wisconsin. Give me a second while we're waiting for this to load, and I'll tell you what I can find out about the 15th Wisconsin. I don't recall seeing it, but it may have been out west. The majority of so that was the Norwegian or Scandinavian regiment. They were a garrison unit in Madison, Wisconsin. So no, they never fought. Oh no, I take that back. Here we go. They were out west. They were at Chickamauga. They were at Resaca, the Battle of Atlanta, the Battle of Jonesboro, Peachtree Creek, Stones River, Perryville. So yeah, 15th Wisconsin was in a number of major battles in the Western Theater. There you go, Grand Tactician. Officer stats will improve with experience. You heard it directly from the authority on that. So now I know. Remove Sickles, your word. The Excelsior rifles might head to the nearest peach orchard. All right, so let's take a look at where things are now after that. We're driving the Army of the Shenandoah back, so now we'll take Winchester, which is nice to have. I'd like to get a few more men into the Army of Department of Pennsylvania before long here. Where are we at now on numbers? 130,000 men fielded. Confederates at almost 200,000. We have got to get recruiting. We are falling behind badly. So I actually don't have any artillery recruited for the Department of Pennsylvania yet. We've got to change that. I've queued up a ton of Pennsylvania units, which is why I think these are taking so long. 68 days to get one into the field, because I've been recruiting a lot from Pennsylvania lately. So I probably need to stop doing that for a little while. Let's see. Let's get a New Jersey artillery unit going here. There, they'll come in 19 days. You work for Shivas up northeast of Scotland, and oh, very cool. Talking about distilleries, nice. Yes, Native Americans did serve on both sides. I haven't started Dark Prometheus working on my Navy to do the blockade yet. That is definitely something that's coming. Right now, my primary concern is the Army, because I'm not keeping up with his recruitment. We're up to 12,000 men in the Department of the Ohio. I want to take a look real quick and see, because he's got this Army of the Northwest over here that concerns me. It's got 28,000 men. And I don't know for sure that that's even where they are, because that question mark tells me that's kind of my last known information about them, and not necessarily where they're actually at. I've only got McDowell's right now 6,000, eventually closer to 10,000 men. I've got 12,000 under McClellan in the Department of the Ohio here. Withers' army, 15,000. So I think we need to get a little more in McClellan's army before we can start moving south. And then I'm working on building Grant's force. Where's the Army of the Tennessee? All right, I formed them up in Peoria. So let's get him down to Cairo, Illinois, which is kind of where Grant started his career with the military. Can't have too much artillery. I agree. Artillery is definitely a huge part of things. Yeah, that's kind of what Grand Tactician just said is what I was getting at. I've queued up a bunch of Pennsylvania units, and that's why they're taking so long. I've got to kind of spread out where I'm recruiting from. Let's get another Ohio unit going. I'm going to name this one in honor of my ancestor who fought under Grant, the 20th Ohio, even though it's a brigade and not a division or not a regiment. I would put his historic commander in charge, but he's already in command somewhere else. I'm trying to remember where he is. His historic commander was Manning Force, and I believe Manning Force is already in command of a brigade or a division somewhere. There he is right here. He's in command of the Cavalry Division in the Department of the West. So I can't do that. Let's queue up a few more. Oh, we got to get some artillery going for the Department of Ohio as well. And I'll probably go in after this episode's over and look over some of my commanders and probably make some changes to my commanders. New Mexico territory. No. All right, let's correct that. Let me catch up on the chat here. Hey, Phil, you too. You enjoy your day. Hey, Christopher, what's going on? Can't go wrong with a name like Christopher. It's a name I was born with. I should say it's still my name. I haven't changed it or anything. Artillery. Let's see if we have any 3-inch ordnance available yet. I had a few of them. Okay, there we do. So that's one thing too that they've definitely updated and fixed on the game. Used to be you could just kind of spam as many as you wanted of a particular type of weapon. Now the weapon availability is a real issue, especially early in the war. I don't have a lot of the weapons that I'd like to have. So it's taking me some time to get those weapons, which is exactly how it should be, and I'm glad that's the case. No, most of my infantry rearguard now has rifles. I do have some units that have Springfield because I didn't have enough. Like here's a Springfield musket unit. Let's see if we can upgrade now. Okay. We've got some more Enfields available. they weren't available last I checked. So we're trying to get those upgraded as we can, but you can see again there. I've got some Lawrences that I can get in there. Let's see what else we might have for Mills Brigade. Lawrence, we got a Model 1817 rifle. We've got the Plains rifle. We'll go with that for now. Hey, Gamble Shanks, what's up? Dark Prometheus, that's a good question. I don't know if Grand Tactician's still in here or not. If there's a way to check and see how many of something you have. I'm not sure that there is. No 1861 Springfield rifles available to produce yet. That might be something in industrial policies that might help with that. Industrialization 3, yeah, that allows new weapons and ship types to be produced. So the policies affect what you can import, what you can produce yourself, all of those sorts of things. Hey, Ewan, I'm glad you approve. All right, let's go ahead and unpause. And we'll go ahead and let things... He's starting to form up some armies in the south here. Alabama, Mississippi, you can see them moving forward. Jackson's army, interesting. He didn't put Stonewall Jackson in command of an army now, did he? Now we've got a pretty decent sized force here, the Department of the West. Who's William Harney, and why do I have him in command of an army? Let's look at his stats. He's got good initiative, just not very good leadership. I think I'm going to replace him. Let's see who we've got here. John Wool's actually really good in terms of leadership and administration. Let's put him in command of that force. Klaus, yeah, that's why I love these streams. I know it's probably not the best for gameplay because I'm spending half my time staring at the chat screen, but that's why I love these streams. I love the interaction with all of you in the community. I love being able to answer questions, being able to talk about things that we're all passionate about. That's why I wanted to make this series, this Union series, a all live stream series, because number one, it would force me to make sure I stream more. But secondly, I thought it would be a great way to get more folks interested and involved in the campaign. Department of the West in contact with the Missouri State Guard. That's probably a small force. No. All right, Sterling Price got a decent-sized force here. This will be interesting. Oh, good, Nathan. You figured it out. Did the rebels ever get that close to St. Louis in history? If they did, it was in the first few months of the war because, honestly, for the most part, they were pretty much driven out of Missouri after 1861-62. There wasn't really a lot going on in Missouri after that. John, the first number is the number that they'll have at full strength. The number in parentheses is actually how many men are actually present for duty. Mofte Marius, I appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to be fighting this one on the Bull Run battlefield, which a lot of the Western battles end up in Bull Run. They are, if you see the roadmap for updates to the game, they're definitely planning on adding more battlefields, which will definitely be an exciting thing and add a lot to it. I actually want to go up here to the full Department of the West. I want to go to single line. Let me look at the numbers real quick before we get into this fight. All right, again, really, really even numbers, and there won't be any reinforcements for this one. So we've got to be careful here. Probably gonna, oh yeah, we're probably gonna end up fighting somewhere right around the stone bridge. So let me try and get up. Oh, we actually can go all the way up here and deploy as far as right here, which is actually ideal for deployment. That's a perfect spot right up there at Henry Hill. I don't have any artillery. Nope, not yet. Just added Mine Creek today. Okay, awesome. And I did install the update right before I started this video. So cool. I'll be looking forward to seeing that one show up. So we've got the 1st Cavalry here, Fort Garry Horse. I'm going to put them out on the other side. So I've got cavalry on either side. Let's get... Who do we have here? This is Manning Forces Division. Oh, he's the cavalry commander. So I've just got 1 division of infantry here. So let's bring them up just on the other side of the Henry house. So the widow Henry, who lived in the Henry house at the first Battle of Bull Run, was actually killed during the battle. She was the first, at least that I'm aware of, civilian casualty during battle. There were others throughout the war. Will, I would say that the Bull Run battlefield does appear more often than a lot of them. I get Antietam a lot when I fight in Maryland, which makes sense. Yeah, Moses, you're right. Let's hope the Army doesn't break this time. But we've had a little more time to get some experience. And this is a different Army. This is out in the west. So I guess we'll see. I need to get these guys to actually deploy in front of the Henry house. Fight in Rockville, Maryland. Boy, that's Washington, D.C. north, basically, Rockville. I usually, when I go to D.C., that's where I end up getting a hotel, is in Rockville, and then I take the train into the city. Amsterdam, yes, you can now move the general without moving the rest of the army. You can do that for any of the commanders. You just hold down Alt. I think it's Alt. Yeah, you can move. See, just hold down Alt and you can move him independently. Yep, Grand Tactician. They're on top of it. I'm just going to let them answer the questions while I play the game. All right, so Fort Garry Horse is heading over to their position on the other side. I'm actually going to go ahead and see, they've got Smith carbines. You can see that this is their first combat, which anytime you see, when you look on the situation screen right here, anything that's red is going to be a negative. That's going to hurt their performance. Anything that's green is something that's going well for them. So like right here, it's everybody's first combat in this army. But they've got a couple of things going for them here. Their commander is nearby, and they're supported, which means they've got friendly units on their flanks. Alexander Hamilton, I use OBS, which is a free software that you can use to stream or record. Charles Biddle, yes, DC, I believe Charles Biddle is in the game. There was Charles and there was a Chapman Biddle, but I know at least one of them, probably both of them, are in it. So Brooks has Springfield muskets, so not a lot of range there. We've got the Enfields here and here. Now the question is, where are the rebels? They're over here near Groveton. I'm pretty content to sit tight here. I might even try to build some breastworks if they're going to give me that opportunity. Let me see. Yeah, I'm in a good spot for that, I guess. All right, get working on them, boys. Well, we got time. We might as well create for ourselves, oops, a better defensive position. Whether or not I'll get to use it is another question, but we'll see. We've got to get the Oregon Volunteers better weapons when I get a chance. Zachary, yeah, there's a new update that actually just got installed this morning. Next update adds battle saves. Excellent. Awesome. Of course, the update I'm talking about was it's the development build, so it's not an official update. Fights inside buildings during the Civil War. Not really. I mean, there was occasional use of buildings for defensive positions, but no, not on the scale that you're talking. Jason, yes, all of the patron units that were requested as of the time that I started this video should be in the game now, and I covered those all at the beginning. In fact, I think that your units in this army here, yeah, there they are right there. They're right here holding the center. They're just finishing up their breastwork so they can get behind them. Zachary, yeah, so far I've just done all the patron units, but I'll see what I can do. The problem is if I start just kind of opening it up to anybody to make a request, you know, there's 27,000 subscribers, and I'd never be able to do them all, but I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I wish I could have recruited those guys from Kansas, but there weren't enough Kansas troops available. Why are they not building there? Oh, they're still working on their breastworks, that's why. He may not be coming after me, though. That's the problem. Okay, he's moving over this way. He may be heading over to Sudley Church. So let's send Wesley Merritt over with the cavalry. Actually, I want to give him a... he's already got a... no, he doesn't have an evade order. And I just gave him orders, so now I got to wait. Were there any big sieges of forts? Big, I mean, there was Fort Donelson, which is a pretty substantial siege of a actual fort, but the big siege is Vicksburg. Vicksburg and Petersburg are the two big sieges. Petersburg siege lasted the better part of a year. I don't know, 8-9 months, something like that. And it was finally broken because the Union took a railroad and kind of cut off their supply. Do states have perks for their recruited units to make choosing them for certain areas? No. No, there's nothing state-specific about perks. All right, so let me see if I can get... now I want to give Merritt the evade order. The evade order allows me to not have to worry as much about my cavalry when they're on scout duty getting bogged down in a pitched fight. They will go out and kind of scout, but then they'll evade any major contact. So I'm going to send von Steinver up this way. Tim, I was talking about the tutorials earlier. The first tutorial is done. and has been handed over to the Grand Tactician folks. I'm nearly done with the second one. The second one's much more complicated because, as I mentioned earlier, the first one, there they are. The first tutorial, there were like 2.5 pages of notes for that one. The second one's got 8 pages, but I've got to try to cut down the time, and it's a lot to cover while keeping it concise enough to not make it kind of run on and be boring and long. So it's taking me a lot of editing and things like that to get that one done. But I've done 2 tutorials of my own on my channel. But the official tutorials, there's one done and the second one nearly done. Yeah, Rayward, as Grand Tactician said, this force that I'm facing, the Missouri Home Guard, I think, like he said, they fight much better in their home state, and they take a big hit if they leave their home state. Fort Henry really wasn't a fort. Fort Henry was really more just some guys in a kind of prepared defensive position, but it wasn't a fort in the way that we think of as a fort. Of course, neither was Donelson to a large degree. Hey, Brian, how's it going? All right, so now we've actually spotted these guys. I'm hoping maybe I can draw them back toward my fortifications. Speaking of which, I'm still trying to figure out why these guys haven't built theirs. There we go. And I might not even have them facing the right direction if they're coming from over here. All right, let's get von Steinwehr to come back, because I think we've successfully caught his attention. Yeah, I was thinking skirmishers might be a good idea. Oh, von Steinwehr started to move out. Then he started pulling back there. Now he's coming. Come on, guys. So I've been to Sterling Price's grave. He's the commander of this enemy force. He's buried I think he's buried in St. Louis. I think that's where I saw his grave. There are 2 cemeteries in St. Louis that are right next to each other. There's the Catholic cemetery and then the regular cemetery. And between those 2 cemeteries, you've got Dred Scott, William Tecumseh Sherman, John Pope, the Anheuser and Busch families. You've got Sterling Price. You've got William Clark from Lewis and Clark. And there's a bunch of other Confederate and Union troops or commanders buried in those 2. $5 on Christmas, and it's not going to be $5. Why am I not getting the? Oh, because I'm not actually on it. Yeah, I need to actually step out and grab Henry Hill, and then I'll pull back to my position. You can see now I'm capturing it. There we go. Now we'll pull back. Oh, yeah, here he comes. Okay. I don't know how good my fortifications are going to be, though, because he's going to kind of hit me on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and get the Fort Garry horse to dismount. Oh, and the problem is I've got my units with the shortest range on this side. The ones that have muskets. Hanson, yes, there are naval battles. You don't actually get to control the naval battles. Oh, $5 off the 40. Okay, that makes more sense, Zachary. I'm totally okay with the naval battle just being kind of auto-resolve. For me, it's kind of a less significant part of the game. Though, obviously, the Navy had a big role in the war. Am I doing all cav? No, I've got just cav on my flanks right now. At some point, I might have to do something like that, but there's still so much more to do in this game before I get to novelty playthroughs like that. mixed muskets are better than the Springfield muskets. All right, he's not going to attack me. Darn him. He's going to make me attack him. Yeah, Mr. Laker, I'm kind of with you on that. And, you know, honestly, talking about Shiloh, Luke, that was less of a surprise than people think it was. I think that whole idea of a surprise attack is kind of overblown a little bit with Shiloh. The Union knew they were out there. They just didn't know how many of them were out there. They didn't know it was the whole Confederate army. But they were well aware that there were Confederate troops in the area. So there was no surprise there at all. It was just a lack of preparedness, if anything. Oh, yeah, Gambleshanks. The first battle of Bull Run, you had Confederate units with blue uniforms. You had Union units with gray uniforms. It was a mess. Nathan, like anything, it just takes practice. You know, stuff that comes very easily to me in this game now took some time at first because you just have to get used to it. It's very, and I mean this as a compliment, it's just very different than most games you've played. All right, so now he's coming forward. He's got the hill going for him here. I'd really still like to be able to pull back to these fortifications if I can. All right, let's send some skirmishers out. Where's von Steinberg going? I haven't read that one by Jeff Shera, but I really like his writing, and I've enjoyed some of his other ones. I'm actually right now doing his Revolutionary War series, which is very good. All right, we're going to have to bring more up. I'm going to bring him up on this side. And let's get the 2 137th to get some skirmishers out as well. Lorne, no, there was really no standardizing of uniforms because there just wasn't the availability for the Confederates to do that. They had to make with what they had. That's why you had butternut, you had gray, you had different styles. Yeah, I'm with Grand Tactician on that. You can disable that, but it takes away. I mean, the whole point of this game is to have things be as realistic as possible. And I love the fact that if you saw my first episode, I love the fact that Dan Sickles drove me nuts because he charged into a unit without an order. I love the fact that sometimes you have to wait for orders to be obeyed, and that sometimes they don't get obeyed at all. I love getting frustrated with commanders on this game. It drives me nuts, but that's what makes it a fun game. All right, let's reissue this command because he's coming over on my flank now. Darn you, AI, stop getting good. So the Fort Garry Horse is going to have to worry about their flank here if we don't get the Nauvoo Legion over there quickly. Get moving, boys. Double time. Jezza just means that the campaign is completely based on what you do on the campaign map. This battle took place because I moved my army out from St. Louis and they ran into a Confederate force southwest of the city. Yeah, the AI is well positioned here. Von Stein, we're doing stupid things again. Alright, let's get some skirmishers out from here. No, Jezza, this battle is self-contained. Once this battle is over, then we'll go back to the map and we'll go back to what's happening elsewhere. Christopher, not a bad idea. All right, now, see, he went all the way out here on the flank, McBride did. And now he's, we gotta get Nauvoo Legion skirmishers out there, too. See how things are going. So he's taken more losses than me so far, so that's good. Morale's pretty even. I'm counting on the fact that at least a couple of my units have better weapons than he does. He just pulled his skirmishers back over here. Nobody's got artillery. Oh, he's got some artillery that he's still moving into position up here. Alright, McLean, are you going to not send your skirmishers out there? Who's taking casualties? Brooks. Let's see. Alright, so we're doing pretty good on casualties so far. We've inflicted about 2 to 1. You can see that here too. Still pretty even odds. Gamble, that's largely true because there is fog of war. You only see what your units can see, and the numbers on enemy troops are estimates based on what we know. DC, if there's a 3-day battle, there's basically, I guess the way you could figure that is that nothing else is really happening at that time. Rayward, the rebels have the high ground, but I've got better weapons. So I've probably got better accuracy. My cavalry have repeating rifles. So I think that's the difference right now, is the weaponry. They're probably primarily using muskets with smoothbore balls, where I've got a couple of units of rifled units that are probably using mini balls, so they're getting much more accuracy. He did drive my skirmishers back for Brooks. Alright, so let me see what I can do here. I really I want to try and push these guys away if I can. So I'm going to go ahead and push out over there. Oh, no. I didn't mean to send everybody there. That's totally what I did. I just want them to go there. Oh, I ordered the whole division, that was why. I just want the Nauvoo Legion to advance over there. No, Brooks, stay put. That was my fault. Plus, I've actually got a decent defensive position down here by the creek. Let's go ahead and move von Steinover's cavalry up. I'm probably going to go ahead and push across now, as soon as I can drive this last Confederate unit out. Don't you hate when you issue an order and everyone listens to it? Yes, yes I do. Uh-oh, what did Reed say? I missed it. Don't tell anyone, but we were working on that already. Carbines were a thing before the Civil War. In fact, I think Burnside's carbine predates the war. Alright. We gotta push McBride back, and then I can advance with these guys. Alright, we drove off Stack, so that's good. That helps. Or Slack. Yeah, I guess his name's Slack. Things are starting to move in our direction now. The Henry repeating rifle was actually designed in 1860. Yeah, Reed, that's I think why they call it Grand Tactician: The Civil War, because this is not going to be the last Grand Tactician game, which is an awesome bit of information to think that this game engine could be used on other things like, say, the Napoleonic Wars or whatever you might choose to make. That's fantastic news. And they do have the 7 Years' War game, which obviously isn't exactly like this, but similar. All right, we're going to start moving up. But this is looking pretty good for us right now. And this will be huge because this is really, it's not like there are other forces I have to compete with in Missouri. This is going to kind of clear us some space outside of St. Louis. Help us start driving the Confederates out of Missouri. All right, his artillery has opened up now. I'm a little nervous about sending the Fort Garry horse up there to deal with the cavalry or the artillery, but I think I might. Let's see if we can get away with this. Charge! Take out that artillery. No, I had a feeling I wouldn't get away with that. That was too big of an area to charge into the face of those guns, especially with a brand new unit in his first combat situation, and because the two 137s just broke as well. Oh boy. So that was bad timing on my part to try and do that. But it looks like Merritt's going to recover. Yeah, I think he got canistered. But it looks like the Confederates might be pulling back. Let's see what McBride's doing here. Yep, you can build forts on the game. And then manage their garrisons. No, where are you guys going? Oregon Volunteers, stay here. Please. All right, let's move up to this fence. We'll reattach Duffy's attachment. Move the cavalry up. Zachary, you guys are really trying hard to get a discount on this game. Just pay full price and support the developers who are making an awesome game. Okay. So we're far from done with this Confederate force yet, and now things are back to indecisive where they were starting to lean in my favor. So the routes are hurting me worse than him. Losses are hurting him worse than me. And I've got more victory points at the moment. Problem is McBride's kind of hiding down here, and I got to move my division commander up too. Oh, I hit the wrong button. No, just darn it. Cancel. I did it again. That was my fault again. I meant to hit Alt to move my commander, and I ended up moving the whole division. Alright, we got 58 rounds of ammunition, so we're good for a little while there. No, 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 no. Don't you leave me. Okay, my morale dropped too much. Ah. So it goes. Well, yeah, there's the Bellefontaine Cemetery and the Cavalry Cemetery in, Cavalry Cemetery in St. Louis that are right next to each other, and that's where all of kind of the big names in the Civil War that are buried in the St. Louis area are at. All right, we lost 713 men. We inflicted significant casualties there. I think we're going to just need to get some more infantry and some artillery in our Western Army. Went a river too far. See, I should have just stayed in my... I had a nice, strong defensive position, and I should have kept it. Von Steinwehr was doing stupid things the whole battle. It was very expected. Union grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory. Well, the Union was known for that, wasn't it? Can you make a unit from Washington, D.C.? I'm actually not sure of that. I'll have to check. Look, Colonel von Steinwehr has fallen to disgrace in the eyes of his men and the public. No kidding. He's the goat of the battle. That's right. Hey, if you haven't already, if you'd hit that like button, and if you are not already a subscriber, please do so. That would be fantastic, and it would be greatly appreciated. And then that way you can get notifications. I try to post those notifications about when I'm going to be streaming. Sometimes I don't know until even a couple hours ahead of time. I am a dad with 3 kids, one of whom's been homesick for about a week now. And I have a feeling we're all going to be back home. My kids with school are going to be doing the online thing here again real soon. So, and my wife's in school full time, getting her master's degree in school counseling. So there's a lot to kind of navigate. We are trying to save up for a gaming computer of my own, so I'm not using the family desktop anymore, and I can stream more often. And there's a link in the description if you're so inclined to donate to that. I know that's not for everybody, but I had some viewers who asked me if I would create something like that, so I have. Now, you know what, Darth Vendar, don't expect a lot in these early battles. Expect these early battles to be like the early battles were, which is a mess between very green troops and very green commanders. And most of these commanders on both sides, while they were experienced as lower-ranking officers. You know, suddenly you have guys who were lieutenants and captains becoming generals, and it took them some time to get used to that. Even Grant's first battle at Belmont was hardly anything to write home about. Realism for the win, yep. Any upcoming real-time strategy games I'm excited about? Yeah, the new Ultimate General American Revolution looks really exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm dying for Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts to get a campaign. That's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, Department of the West is going to fall back now. We're going to go ahead and recruit ourselves an artillery force. See what we've got from Missouri available. We've got 5,400 men available from Missouri. So let's get a couple of Missouri artillery units going. Oh, that's infantry. I didn't mean to do that, but hey, that's fine. New infantry brigade on the way. And then we'll recruit, let's say, an Illinois artillery unit. And I'd like to get some rifled artillery if I can. Let's see if we've got 3-pound. No, we don't. There's a 12-pounder Whitworth, though. Yeah, that's nice. I'll take one of those. Yep, DC, that's what I'm working on. Bill Quantrill should be a Confederate leader available. I do not want to see that on this campaign because I'm the Union. $30-pounders, I think, so far, FF. Maybe later in the war we can get heavier ones, but most of the heavier guns that were used were actually naval guns. Like Grant at Vicksburg used a lot of naval guns on land for the siege of Vicksburg. Yeah, 30-pounder Parrott. That's the best I've seen. Hey, Thara, what's going on? Yeah, Ultimate General Gettysburg has multiplayer. It's the only one of the Ultimate General games that does. All right, let's take a look at some of our other forces. Where's the Confederates at? They're at 205,000 now in recruitment. We've got a lot of recruiting to do to keep up with that. No, I don't think we need another unit there. So let's go to the Department of the Ohio, because you got to remember, historically the Union had 3 main armies operating in the Western Theater. We had the Army of the Ohio, the Army of the Tennessee, the Army of the Cumberland. And I think the Army of the Cumberland eventually changed their name to the Army of the Mississippi. I can't remember for sure, though. But so you had all those armies operating together, sometimes all together, sometimes separately. Some of them were all at one battle. Others were at battles by themselves. But McClellan, we're going to send him primarily down into eastern Kentucky for now. So speaking of which, I'm going to recruit some more Kentucky units here. Oh, sounds like my daughter's home from school. I'm going to mute you guys here in a second just so I can say hi to her. All right, what do we got available? We've got Sharps rifles. I don't know that I want to get a bunch of infantry guys with those. Let's go to Plains rifles. It's better than Springfield muskets. So this is going to get McClellan up to about 18,000 men, which is pretty close to where the Army of the Ohio was early in the war. But he's only at 12,000 right now. I don't know what this army is going to have, but we're going to at least move McClellan down into Lexington. How's the Rona in this area? Where our governor just announced a curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day. So it's pretty crazy. Look at it this way. Oh, we're going to be fighting here. Oh, that's his Army of the Potomac against my Department of Pennsylvania. That's not good. That's gonna, I may have to withdraw here. Back in March, when everything shut down here in Ohio, we were getting 500 new cases of COVID a day. We're at like 7,000 to 8,000 a day now. So yeah. Yeah, John Smith, I agree 100%. Totally worth the price right now for this game. Yeah, I am. If somebody was asking where I live in Northeast Ohio. If you drew a straight line between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I would be right in the middle of it. I'm an hour from downtown Cleveland and an hour from downtown Pittsburgh. I'm about 45 minutes north of the West Virginia Panhandle. So yeah, that's about where I live. An hour south of Lake Erie. All right, so we're going to be outnumbered here, I think. And this will be our... Oh, yeah. This is not a battle that we want to fight, the Battle of Harper's Ferry. Yeah, we're going to have to surrender Winchester, I'm afraid. I don't think we're getting reinforcements from the Army of the Potomac. Let's double check to make sure. Nope, not happening. Oh, wait, condition. Here we go. Oh, we've got some ammunition issues as well. Yeah, probably not worth it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just live to fight another day. One to 4 odds, you could do this, no problem. Mask of Zorro, love Mask of Zorro. That's one of my favorite movies. Oh my gosh, yeah, Anthony Hopkins is in that, Antonio Banderas. Oh, fantastic. That was one of my favorite. I was a teenager, I think, when that came out. And I love the song from that. I want to spend my lifetime loving you. Yeah, Ray, the main thing they're dealing with here in Ohio that is like get-togethers, like weddings and, you know, big family gatherings, which kind of stinks because my son turns 13 on Friday, and we're not going to be able to have a birthday party for him. Dubs, very cool. What part of? I'm assuming you live in Ohio. Then, where in Ohio are you? I'm right outside of Youngstown. I don't live in Youngstown. I live near Youngstown. I'm not going to go too much longer with the stream today, but we will be streaming again on Thursday. Probably early evening on Thursday here in U.S. Medina County. Okay, very cool. I'm in Mahoning County. Really, Christopher? Wow. Well, thank you for what you do out there as a paramedic, doing your thing. I have an uncle who's a paramedic, as well as his daughter, who's my cousin. And I admire you guys. You guys are on the front lines of this thing, putting your lives on the line every day. So thank you for that. All right, I'm going to pause for a second because I want to do some more recruiting. We're at 145,000, but he's at 211. I love that the Confederates are recruiting well now. That's what you like to see. That was a big frustration earlier for the game that is no longer an issue. All right, Department of Pennsylvania. We're still waiting on Lincoln Loyalists. They're 3 days away. Let's get... Okay, so there's whoever asked about the District of Columbia. Yes, but there's only 1,300 men, so you're not going to get a full brigade. I could put together an artillery unit right now. That'd be about it. Let's recruit from Connecticut. See how long that'll take. 10 days. Hey, not bad. Let's go ahead and add another one here. I'm mostly going to be fighting with Eastern units in the Army of the Potomac. You know, most of... Like Ohio, for example, most of the Ohio units fought in the Western Theater. And if you want a unit in the game, the best way to guarantee that is to join up as a supporter over on Patreon at the captain level on up. So it's $10 a month, and you can request a unit in the game. All right, we've got a lot from Pennsylvania already. How about Massachusetts? Or Maine? We've got enough for another Maine unit. Oh, I didn't mean to put them in the Army of the Ohio, though. But look who it is! Hey! Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain has entered the chat. We're going to send them to the Army of the Potomac, though. I don't want him in the Army of the Ohio. So let's transfer them over to the Army of the Potomac. We'll just drop them in one of these other divisions for now. I'm going to probably have to form another division at some point. French Retreaters would be a fitting name for a unit. Hey now, let's be nice to our French allies. We wouldn't have a country without France. Granted, their performance in war later on, not anything to write home about, but they bailed us out in the Revolutionary War for sure. Oh man, could you imagine this with multiplayer? I know that would be just another whole level of complicated for the developers in what is already a very complicated game. But that would be amazing to have. Always held out hope that Ultimate General Civil War would do that, but it just never really happened. Which was disappointing because they had it in Ultimate General Gettysburg. All right, let's recruit a Maryland unit. So we're waiting on a lot of units to get into these armies. Department of Pennsylvania will have 18,000 when everybody's in. We need another artillery unit. This one's still 10 days away. How about Massachusetts? And let's see what kind of guns we can get. 24 pounders, 12 pounder. Let's get some more Whitworths here. All right, I'm just catching up on chat here. Yeah, you know, I haven't actually gotten to see the European intervention yet, but we're at 43% for British intervention right now. Do I have a navy? Yes. I haven't done much with it yet. That's something I'm going to focus on the next episode, I think. Right now I'm just trying to work on getting my military up. I've got 74,000 tons in my navy. You can see the casualties are still higher on the Confederate side than mine. I'm just waiting right now for a lot of these units to get into the field. Yeah, Napoleon was pretty French. Yeah, he was Corsican, but yeah, I mean, he was French, I guess. All right, looks like the Army of the Shenandoah is moving up. Where did the Department of Pennsylvania end up going to? Did they fall back over to Baltimore? It looks like it. Oh, that's the Army of the Potomac. All right, Army of the Shenandoah is moving out. Gibbon's Army of the Potomac will have 55,000 men when everybody hits the field, but they're not all there yet. How many Shenandoah got right now? He's only got 2,700 men in that army because he moved the Army of the Potomac up, which is his main force. And the Army of the Potomac doesn't have that many men either, which tells me he's got a lot of men elsewhere, which is a little bit of a cause for concern. We're moving McClellan down into Lexington. We're waiting on Grant to arrive in Cairo, Illinois. But he's only got 14,000 so far, so we need to start recruiting additional troops for the Army of the Tennessee. No more cavalry yet. Let's get some more infantry going. I want to add another infantry division. That's going to do it as a corps, so we'll add that as a division, and then we'll drag it over. Yeah, we got enough for another Kentucky unit. I'll probably go in and do some more recording kind of off camera, or recruiting off camera, so to speak, at the end of this episode, so that I'll be queued up with more recruiting before we start again, just as I did with the last episode. We've got enough for one more Ohio unit right now. Let's put them right there, and then we're going to drag this division directly under Grant so we don't have a separate corps. The road open to Richmond, kind of. Hampton's got a division down there, and he would definitely intercept me if I tried to march on Richmond right now. With his Army of the Potomac, it would be pretty easy for him to get him back in range. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. Jezza, I hear you with the long protracted Wikipedia search. That's what makes it fun, though. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. I know we didn't have a lot in terms of combat, but trust me, that's coming. The big battles are coming. We're still early. This is end of July 1861, so there's a long way to go in terms of recruiting, equipping, getting our forces into the field. You can see now where we're at on men fielded. He's still got a big advantage, so I'm going to have to close that gap. I'll go in and recruit what I can before the next episode, but I'll wrap it up right there. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on the notifications. That way when I do post what time I'm going to be streaming on Thursday evening, you'll be aware of that. And we'll see you again next time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks, Grand Tactician, for coming around and answering everybody's questions. Guys, definitely check out this game and pick it up if you have any interest whatsoever. It's worth it. Take care. We'll see you again soon. God bless. Be safe.